Have you ever felt like time is moving faster than you ever expected? One day you're full of energy, tackling challenges without a second thought, and the next you find yourself pausing to catch your breath, wondering when things changed. The reality is aging brings transformations that can be both surprising and challenging, but here's the truth: understanding what's ahead can make all the difference in how you navigate this stage of life. In this video, we're diving into 5 undeniable realities of getting older, ones that everyone eventually faces, whether they see it coming or not. From shifting social circles to unexpected changes in how you see yourself, these insights will give you a new perspective on aging and how to embrace it with confidence, and make sure to stay until the end, because some of these points might just change the way you look at growing older forever. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Energy levels decline. One of the first things you start noticing as you get older is that your energy doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Maybe you used to power through a full day without a second thought. Work, errands, socializing, even late nights didn't faze you. But now, by mid-afternoon, you feel like you've hit a wall, and even the simplest tasks require a bit more effort. It's not that you can't do them, but you start picking and choosing where to spend your energy, because you realize you don't have the same reserves you once did. This shift happens gradually. At first you might chalk it up to a bad night's sleep or an off day, but eventually you recognize that this is the new normal. Your body doesn't recover the way it used to, and things like staying up too late, skipping meals, or neglecting exercise take a bigger toll than they once did. If you push too hard, you pay for it the next day. This is why many older adults start to prioritize routines that allow them to function at their best. Better sleep habits, regular movement, and healthier eating. You come to realize that energy is a resource, and the way you manage it matters more than ever. There's also a shift in how you approach rest. When you were younger, taking a break might have felt like a luxury, something you only did when everything else was handled. Now, rest becomes a necessity. If you ignore what your body is telling you, it reminds you, sometimes in the form of exhaustion, other times in the form of aches that weren't there before. It's not about giving up or slowing down completely. It's about learning how to move with your body instead of against it. And here's the thing: this doesn't mean you stop doing the things you love. It just means you have to be more intentional about how you do them. You start planning around your energy rather than assuming it will always be there. The reality of aging isn't that you can't be active or engaged in life, but that you have to be smarter about how you spend your time and effort. Instead of running on autopilot like you once did, you begin to focus on the things that truly matter. There's a saying that resonates with many people as they get older: it's not about adding years to your life, but life to your years. That's the key to this stage of life, learning how to work with the changes instead of resisting them. Because when you figure that out, you realize that while you may have less energy than before, you can still live just as fully, if not more so, by being intentional with the energy you do have. Number 2. Social circles shrink. As the years pass, you start to notice something unexpected. Your social circle isn't as wide as it used to be. When you were younger, it seemed effortless to keep up with friends. You were surrounded by co-workers, neighbors, and acquaintances, and making plans was as simple as picking up the phone. But as life moves forward, relationships change, people move away, family dynamics shift, and before you know it, the number of people you regularly interact with has dwindled. At first, it's easy to brush off. After all, life gets busy, and everyone has their own responsibilities. But eventually, you start to feel it. The silence in moments that used to be filled with conversation, the gaps where familiar faces once were. Maybe you reach out to an old friend, only to realize it's been years since you last spoke. Maybe you scroll through your phone, looking for someone to call, and realize there are fewer names than there used to be. One of the hardest parts of aging is that friendships don't maintain themselves the way they once did. When you were younger, Friendships were often built into your daily life through work, school, or shared activities. But as you get older, you have to put in more effort to keep them alive. If you don't, they start to fade. Not out of lack of care, but simply because life moves in different directions. And then there's the reality that some friendships aren't lost to distance or time, but to something far more permanent. As you age, you start losing people you've known for decades, people who've shared your history. There's no easy way to prepare for that kind of loss. It changes you. It reminds you that time is moving forward, whether you're ready for it or not. But here's what matters. While your social circle may shrink, the relationships that remain tend to be deeper and more meaningful. You begin to appreciate quality over quantity. The friends who stay are the ones who truly matter, the ones who show up when it counts. And if you make the effort, new connections can still be formed. It may take more work, but building relationships never stops being important. The truth is, loneliness can creep in if you let it. But just as friendships fade without effort, they can also be nurtured with intention. Whether it's calling an old friend, joining a group, or simply making time for people who matter, staying connected is one of the most important things you can do as you age. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many people you know, it's about having people in your life who truly know you. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content. Now, let's move forward to number 3, appearance and self-perception shift. One of the biggest surprises about aging isn't just how others see you, it's how you see yourself. You don't feel different on the inside, but one day, you catch your reflection and realize the person staring back at you isn't quite the same. The face that once seemed so familiar now carries lines that weren't there before. Your hair isn't as thick or as dark as it used to be. Your body doesn't look the way it once did. And even if you were never particularly concerned with appearance, you notice these changes. It's impossible not to. At first it might feel like a small thing, a moment of surprise when you look at an old photo and realize how much time has passed. But over time, it becomes something you think about more. Maybe you catch a glimpse of yourself in a store window and do a double take. Maybe someone refers to you as sir or ma'am, and it takes a moment to register that they're talking to you. Or maybe you just don't recognize yourself in the way you once did. There's a strange disconnect that happens as you get older. You still feel like yourself, the same person with the same thoughts, the same humor, the same memories, but the world starts treating you differently. Strangers see you as an older person first, before they see anything else. You might feel invisible in ways you never did before. People talk over you, assume things about you, or fail to see who you really are, beyond your age. And then there's the internal battle. You know that aging is natural, that it happens to everyone, and yet some days it's hard to fully accept. Society has a way of making people feel like getting older means becoming less attractive, less relevant, less seen. That's why so many people fight against it, trying to hold on to their youth in whatever way they can. But the truth is, real confidence comes from embracing where you are, not fighting to stay where you were. There's power in owning your age, in standing tall, and knowing that your worth isn't tied to smooth skin or thick hair. The lines on your face tell a story. They show where you've laughed, where you've worried, where you've lived. And when you stop seeing them as flaws and start seeing them as a map of everything you've experienced, you realize that getting older doesn't take anything away from you, it adds to you. The key is to shift how you define yourself. You're not just an older version of who you used to be. You're someone who has grown, evolved, and gained a depth that younger years couldn't offer. And while the world may focus on youth, the truth is, there's a presence that comes with age that can't be replicated. A younger person might turn heads with their looks, but an older person turns heads with their presence, the way they carry themselves, the way they move through the world with a quiet kind of knowing. That's something no amount of youth can replace. So while your appearance may change, who you are at your core remains, and the way you see yourself matters far more than the way anyone else sees you. Because at the end of the day, confidence isn't about looking young, it's about fully stepping into who you are, without hesitation, without apology, and without needing to be anyone other than yourself. Number 4, health becomes a daily priority. There was a time when you hardly thought about your health. Sure, you knew it was important, but it wasn't something that took up space in your daily routine. You got up, went about your day, and trusted that your body would keep up with whatever you asked of it. But as the years go by, that changes. Suddenly, health isn't just something you should take care of, it becomes something you have to take care of. It starts with small things. Maybe it's a few more aches in the morning, a little stiffness when you get out of bed. Maybe it's realizing you don't bounce back from a cold as quickly as you used to. Or maybe it's that first time a doctor hands you a prescription for something you never thought you'd need. Slowly, health moves from the background of your life to the forefront. It becomes part of the conversation, part of the routine, part of what you have to think about if you want to keep living the life you want. One of the biggest adjustments to getting older is accepting that your body has limits. When you were young, you could push through exhaustion, skip meals, stay up too late and get away with it. But now, the consequences come faster. You start realizing that how you treat your body today affects how you'll feel tomorrow. The late nights leave you dragging for days. The meals you used to eat without a second thought now don't sit as well. Recovery takes longer, and suddenly things like stretching, staying hydrated, and getting enough sleep aren't just good habits, they're necessary. Then there's the realization that regular checkups, screenings, and medications aren't optional anymore. You start hearing words like cholesterol, blood pressure, and bone density more than you ever expected. And while it might feel strange at first, staying on top of these things makes all the difference. Catching problems early, following through with treatments, and listening to what your body is telling you can mean the difference between struggling through aging and thriving through it. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. Your mindset about health matters just as much as the physical side of it. Some people start seeing their bodies as a list of problems to manage, focusing only on what's going wrong. But the ones who age well are the ones who see their health as something they can still control. They stay active, keep moving, and do what they can to maintain strength, flexibility, and balance. They don't just sit back and let time take its course. They work with it. Because the truth is, while aging brings changes, you still have choices. You can choose to take care of yourself. You can choose to make adjustments, to listen to your body, to give it what it needs instead of what it used to want. And when you do, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward to number 5. Sense of purpose evolves. One of the biggest shifts that happens as you age isn't just physical. It's the realization that the things that once gave you a strong sense of purpose may no longer be there. For decades, life was built around responsibilities, routines, and roles that shaped your identity. You were a worker, a provider, a caregiver, someone people depended on. And then one day, you find yourself in a quieter phase of life, and you start wondering, what now? It's an adjustment that many don't see coming. When you were younger, you had clear markers of success, career achievements, raising a family, contributing to society in a way that felt tangible. But as those responsibilities shift or fade, it's easy to feel like you've lost a part of yourself. Some people struggle with this more than others. They retire and feel lost without their job. Their children grow up and start their own lives, and suddenly the house feels emptier. The routines that once structured their days disappear, and they're left trying to figure out what comes next. The truth is, purpose isn't something you lose with age, it's something that evolves. The problem isn't that there's nothing left to do, it's that the definition of what gives life meaning has to change, and that change can be uncomfortable at first. But the people who navigate this transition well are the ones who actively seek out new ways to engage with the world. They find hobbies, they volunteer, they mentor, they travel, they invest time in relationships, in learning, in personal growth. They understand that purpose isn't tied to a title or a role, it's tied to how you spend your time and who you share it with. One of the best things about aging is that you finally have the freedom to focus on what truly matters. You're no longer chasing the things that seem so urgent in your younger years. You get to slow down, reflect, and make choices based on what genuinely brings you fulfillment. Maybe it's picking up an old passion you never had time for. Maybe it's giving back in a way that makes a difference. Maybe it's simply appreciating life in a way you never did before. The key is not to fall into the trap of thinking that aging is about stepping aside, about becoming less relevant. Your value doesn't diminish with time, it deepens. Experience, wisdom, perspective. These are things that only come with age, and when you embrace them, you realize that life doesn't stop giving you purpose just because one chapter has ended. It simply invites you to write the next one on your own terms. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on these 5 realities of aging. Which one stood out to you the most? Was there something that resonated with your own experience? Maybe you felt the shift in your energy levels, noticed changes in your social circle, or struggled with how you see yourself in the mirror. Or perhaps you've been navigating the challenge of maintaining your health or redefining your sense of purpose. Whatever it is, know this: aging isn't about losing who you are. It's about adapting, growing, and embracing the changes in a way that allows you to live fully, no matter what stage of life you're in. The truth is, aging doesn't diminish you, it refines you. It strips away the noise and distractions, leaving behind what truly matters: wisdom, resilience, and the ability to appreciate life in a way that youth never could. The key is to approach this stage with intention, take care of your health, nurture your relationships, and find meaning in the everyday moments. Let go of what no longer serves you and lean into the things that bring you joy. And most importantly, never let the world convince you that your best years are behind you, because in many ways, they're still unfolding right in front of you. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.